Welcome to your yoga practice. Begin by coming down onto your back, reclining with your knees bent, and pause there for a moment. What does it feel like to lie down, not to go to sleep, but to just rest for a moment? The knees are bent to encourage the tailbone to be long and the sacrum to open and widen. And find your breath. And notice that the exhalation really supports the spaciousness in the lower back. Moving into nostril breathing and activating your ocean breath as soon as you can. Not teaching ocean breath this morning because you already all know that. So just deepen into it. And then finding your sankalpa, your intention. And I'll be continuing to work with Lakshmi and the ethic of Santosha, contentment. Lakshmi is content because she is full, she has enough, she's able to receive, and very gracious in her giving as well. And this kind of energy, this giving and receiving, comes from that place of deep contentment. It's not an emotion. It's something beyond feelings. It's something that can abide no matter what your emotional experience is. So see if you might touch into that as you rest here, knees bent, tuning into your breath, finding your intention. And then from this place, notice what your emotional experience might be. So that you can really separate your abiding self from the temporary fluctuations of feelings. And then you might also notice your thoughts, your mental activity, your energy level, and of course, always noticing these things from a place of non-attachment, vairagya, not attached to anything at all, no matter what arises. And then your physical sensations. In asana practice, we tend to focus the most on the physical aspect of the practice. And just remember, you want your practice to be sensational. So certainly be aware of your sensations during your practice. But the reason that you want to be aware of your sensations is so that you don't have any pain at all in your practice. So always feel free to pause, rest, back off, shift, find a way to be easy in your effort, never forcing or straining. And if you're not already in a constructive rest arrangement, then go ahead and let the thighs and the knees drop together and the feet walk out to the edges of the mat. Let there be some space for your arms to reach out all the way out to shoulder height if that's available. In terms of space and in terms of your shoulders. And inhale deeply On your exhalation, allow both knees to drop over to the right and really press to the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge of the left foot. Activate that left glute, draw the navel to the spine. So you're not just collapsing over to the right, you're moving with awareness, with intention, and hopefully feeling a lot of sensation, but no pain. Inhale, same thing. Use the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge of the left foot to bring yourself back to center as well as your core. And that glute releases and the right glute engages as you drop over to the left, activating outer edge of left foot, inner edge of right foot. And back and forth like that. Inhaling through center, exhaling to the right, inhale through center, exhale to the left. Really keeping the feet awake here, alive and active, as well as keeping the core engaged. Always a little Uddiyana Bandha, and especially at the bottom of the exhale, a little Mula Bandha, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Over to the left, exhaling, pressing into the feet, whatever part of the foot has contact with the mat. And then inhale through center, and on this exhale, over to the right, you stay here. Really move your left glute over to the right and towards your left knee. And if it's available, place your right foot on the outside of your left thigh. Reach your arms up to the sky, keeping the shoulders moving into the mat. Fold your elbows. Place the thumbs, if you can, into the elbow creases. And let your arms and elbows and hands move over to the left. And then let your nose move in the same direction as your knees, over to the right. But let your eyes slide over to the left. So knees and nose to the right, elbows and eyes to the left, and breathe. Easy inhalation, soft exhalation. Keep those feet alert. Keep that left glute moving to the right and towards the left knee. And then letting that go, knees, right foot back to the mat, knees back to center, elbows back to center. And keep the elbows just where they are and let them go over to the right. So keep them arranged as they are, but let them move to the right. Let the knees move to the left. Left foot can come to the outside of the right thigh. Keep the feet active, right glute now, moving to the left and towards the right knee. And again, let the nose go in the same direction as the knees, but the eyes will slide over towards the elbows, to your right. Easy inhalation, soft exhalation. Keep the navel moving towards the spine. And release. Elbows, knees back to center, left foot back onto the mat. And then pressing your arms down by your sides, fingers reaching towards your feet. Maybe walk the heels up a little closer, whatever gives you the most ease, coming into a bridge variation, although we're going to initially avoid the back bend. We're just warming up the core. Part of Santosha, contentment, is really always resting into your center. So when the core is awake and engaged, you're more able to be in your center. So as always, the feet are parallel or maybe even pigeon-toed, almost always in our yoga practice. So press into the four corners of the feet, or the three corners if that's easier for you. Always the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and then you can either work with the inner heel and the outer heel, or just work with the center of the heel, whatever works for you, and press the toes down, not to have hammer toes, but to have nice long toes. We'll work with that a little bit later, but go ahead and make sure the toes are not curling right now, that they're just making some nice solid contact with the mat. And inhale, let the tailbone move a little bit towards the mat. Release the core just a little bit. And then exhale, press the lower back into the mat and draw the belly button towards that lower back, pressing into the mat. Good. And then inhale, release a little, tiny back bend in the lower back. And exhale, lift the hips up. So this is what I mean about coming into the back bend, into the bridge variation, not the back bend. On the exhale, that way you just keep a nice long line of energy across the hip flexors into the knees. Move the knees away from you, chest towards you. And rather than coming into a back bend, try to stay straight as you can here. Inner thighs engaged, glutes engaged. Inhale, release. Let the tailbone just touch down for a moment. And exhale, right back up. Use your glutes to lift and open those hip flexors. Keep the knees moving away from you. Make sure through both these actions, inhale, release a little. And exhale, lift up. The feet are deepening down into the earth. That will also help you to really activate those inner thighs and keep the glutes engaged. The shoulders and the arms are pretty relaxed. Core is engaged, back is engaged. And one more, inhale, release. Exhale, back body strong. Front body, just resting into the back body for the most part, but you can support that a little bit by drawing the navel towards the spine. Good. And inhale, release. And rolling over to one side, whatever's easier for you. Spiraling up here, moving to hands and knees. And then an inhale into your cow pose. Make sure you're really engaged here, you're not collapsing. Santosha is not about complacency. It's not about chasing happiness. It's about that easy effort. And then on the exhale, round the spine. And the same thing. Find that easy effort. Open up the back body. Lift the front body up to the sky. Let the head and the neck just relax down. And then find the place that's in between. Long tailbone, lifted belly, long back of the neck. Nose points down. And tuck your toes under and lift your knees up off the mat. That's all. That's all we're doing right now. Just feel the arms get strong, the core engage. Good. Toes tucking under. You should feel a nice opening under the toes and in the fascia, in the soles of the feet. There's a dorsiflexion. And then let the knees drop back down if they haven't already. And walk your arms out. If possible, your hips will stay in line with your knees. And walk your hands forward as far as you comfortably can. And then draw the navel to the spine, but let the heart really start to drop down any amount towards the mat. So for a moment, just let the focus be on opening up the armpits, letting the head and the heart drop down. But once you've arrived at a place that is comfortable, not collapsing, no pain, a lot of sensation, but no pain, then really lift the navel up to the spine. See how much you can keep the heart dropping down. The head can actually rest on the mat. That can make it a little easier. You can feel free to put a block under your head if you need that. Right? Always supporting yourself, not trying to do anything. We're not in a competition. But see if you might
lift the navel up towards the spine. Drop the heart down, lift the navel up towards the spine. Drop the heart down. Good. So you can stay here working with that for another breath or two, or walk your hands forward, tuck your toes under, lift your knees up, and slowly lift the hips up, press back, coming into downward facing dog, and keep those same actions in play. So the heart will drop down towards the earth, armpits will open, but then you'll also tuck the ribs in, lift the navel to the spine. Make sure the hands and the feet are really grounded and they're supporting all of these actions. The deepening of the hands into the mat will help the armpits and the heart to open. And even if your heels can't touch the mat, really pressing the balls of the feet down, spreading the toes. Again, no hammer toes, nice long toes. And the heels dropping towards the earth will support the navel towards the spine. And the ribs tucking in, and the ribs tucking in, and the navel towards the spine will also support the feet moving towards the earth. And then as you're ready, come back down onto your knees. Get your blocks if you will need them for our lunging work here. And step your right foot forward. You'll want your right knee to be stacking right over your left ankle and your left glute. Sorry, right knee over right ankle. Right knee over left ankle will not work. Right knee over right ankle, engaging that left glute using the blocks. And so, as I mentioned earlier, when one thing is opening, another thing will need to contract to support that opening. So here, the right hip flexor is contracting, really pulling back and in, and that's allowing this left hip flexor to open. But also the left glute, left hamstring engaging protects the left hip flexor from opening too much. And of course the feet. Really press the big toe mound of the right foot into the mat. Draw the right heel back. And you can tuck the left toes under if that supports you more. Or you can really press the front of the left foot down. And then draw that left knee forward isometrically without moving it. So a lot of stability here. And then step your right foot back, right knee comes back, and step the left foot forward. And again, find that place where the left knee will stack over the left ankle, but the left hip will draw back, left heel will draw back, right hip will draw forward, right knee will draw forward. Feet will stay grounded. Left toe mound down, right toes tucking under, or front of the right foot pressing down. And feel how from all this engagement and something contracting and something opening in the lower body, the upper body can just rise up. Let the upper body be content. Good. And then as you're ready, tuck that right toe under and step the right foot up to the top of the mat. Again, bringing the blocks with you. And inhale, really find some space here between the tailbone moving back and the chest moving forward. Long spine, wide shoulders. And on your exhale, keeping the knees pointing straight ahead, drawing the navel to the spine, sliding your hips back. Try not to let the knees come forward at all. So if the knees start to come forward, then come out of it a little. Have a little bit of a higher squat. And always try to keep the spine long and the back flat. Okay, so inhale, straighten the legs as much as you can. Heart will float forward. Exhale, hips and heart both slide back. Knees trying to stay completely vertical to the mat. And if you can, torso to the also horizontal
to the mat. So knees vertical, torso horizontal. That's what you're going for. If that's not what's quite happening, well, that could happen, yeah, that can happen even in a higher squat, right? So that none of that will change. The only thing that will change is the alignment or the angle of the thighs. All right, one more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now on this inhale, see if you can keep that all in play, but raise the torso up. So the arms don't have to raise up, but raise the torso up. Keep the shins and the knees drawing back. Keep the hips moving back and down. Keep the navel drawing back and lift up as much as you can. The arms can come up. That's great. And then on the exhale, fold in. So maybe it's just a half fold for you. Maybe it's a full fold. Inhale, chair. Your variation. Exhale, forward fold. Your variation. Inhale, maybe just a little chair. Exhale, just a half fold. That's great. And then inhale, come up through your chair. And top of the inhale, stand up, arms overhead. Exhale, palms to the center of your chest. And then turning to face the long edge of your mat or whatever you need to do, depending on where you're practicing, so that you can find a space to be a little bit longer. Although we're going to start off with not a really wide stance, but wider than hip width apart. So a little bit wider than outer hip width. And again, to work with the squat. So before that squat, hopefully you were in more of a mountain pose or forward fold stance. So the feet were closer together. So this stance, the feet will be a little farther apart. And again, sliding the hips back, using the blocks, dropping in as much as you can, and working to come up onto your tiptoes. Work a little more with the feet today, like I promised earlier. And then back into the heels. Let the toes come up. Then let the heels come up. Okay, so if you need to be in a much smaller squat to do this, that's fine. I'll do it sideways as well, so you can see. But have the wider stance. So you're either pretty deeply squatting, trying not to let the knees come too far forward, back and forth, or if you need to be in a smaller squat, that's fine, but try to bend the knees at least a little bit and feel what's happening here. Good. And then from here, heel and toe out as far as you need to. Put a blanket or a bolster or some eggs, if you have them, under your heels if you need them. Your heels should not be up in the air. We're not going to do that particular practice in Malasana. So open up here as much as you can, really pressing the elbows into the thighs. And then press the thighs into the elbows. Activate those inner thighs. They might not move much, but activate them. And then press the elbows into the thighs. Let the inner thighs release a little bit. You should feel the outer thighs engage a bit. And then press in. Let the outer thighs open a bit and feel those inner thighs engage. And just a couple more like that, working with that. Here, all 3 or 4 corners of the feet, whatever you've decided is better for you to think of, are staying very rooted and grounded into the mat. Good. And then from here, bring all 10 toes straight ahead and find a little forward fold.
Let it feel good. You can bring opposite elbow to opposite hand, I should say, to opposite elbow. And just swing a little back and forth. Keep the outer edges of your feet grounded though. As you find some space and some movement, stay with your even breath. Samavriti through the whole practice today. And then turn your toes out and your heels in and see if you might rise up. You may need to adjust a little bit. As you come up, you want to feel that the knees are stacking right over the ankles. Gee, I keep saying that, don't I? So this is a balancing pose for sure. Spin your heels forward and the balls of the feet back. So it's like you're dialing a clock. And then see if you can have not too much of a back bend here. You're not collapsing. Lift up out of the pelvis. And at the same time, see how much you can let that pelvis sink down. So really inhale, open those inner thighs, deepen into the posture any amount. And then exhale, press into the heels. And then bringing your palms to face you, thumbs up, and then slide them until those thumbs can hook. And rest your thumbs onto your collarbones. Let them be butterfly wings, bird wings, or the wings of your heart, whatever you prefer. And inhale, open those inner thighs. Exhale, deepen into the heels, especially the inner heel moving forward. Should feel a lot of action through the outer thighs here as the inner thighs open. Drop the tailbone down, lift the heart up. And then if you can, lift your heels up, come up onto your tippy toes, heels down. Inhale, heels up, open those inner thighs. Exhale, heels down. Maybe the tailbone and the pelvis drop a little bit more. Inhale. So your heels might not actually come up, but just really work on opening those inner thighs. And exhale, deepen the heels. Okay, and then inhale, straighten the legs for a moment. Exhale, squat. Inhale, straighten the legs. So we're not moving the feet. We're just giving ourselves a little break before we come into another movement here. Inhale, straighten. So if to maintain a sense of Santosha and contentment, you need to barely bend the knees, then feel free to do that. It's actually usually a little easier to go a little deeper because then gravity's helping you. Inhale, come into the fullest expression that you can here. And exhale, right elbow towards right knee. And then circle around in front. Left elbow, left shoulder towards left knee. And inhale, come up. So if you need to move your legs here as you do this, inhaling and exhaling, feel free. Maybe on the inhale, you come up and straighten the legs, and then the exhale, you go deeper into the squat, come shoulder to thigh through center, other shoulder. Or if you can stay deep in it, work with that. And then change direction. Moving the shoulder towards the thigh, heart forward, other shoulder to other thigh, heart up, any amount. And two more. And one more. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, release the arms down. So that was another mudra that we just worked with that also supports Santosha. It's about self-trust. And like I said, that is so much a part. That's so much a part of Santosha, is that you're centered and you can trust
that you're grounded and yet you're connected to something bigger than yourself. So all 10 toes straight ahead. Hands on your hips. Inhale, lift your heart, open your hip flexors, engage your glutes, and then exhale, flex those hip flexors, let the glutes relax, extend through the sideways, float through the heart, keep the shoulders out of the ears, so maybe you're coming into a half forward fold. Keep the lower back open, emphasize the exhalation. That will always help to open the lower back and draw the navel to the spine. If it's available, you'll come all the way forward. Hands on the mat, forehead towards the earth or crown of the head to the earth. And again, make sure that there is an easy effort in your practice, that you're not just collapsing into this forward fold. You're deepening your feet into the earth. You're lifting up through the inner thighs. You're lifting up through the pelvic floor. You're extending through the side waist. And yes, you're allowing gravity to support you, of course. But there is an easy effort, a relaxed action in your posture. And inhale, float up halfway. Exhale, hands on your hips. And inhale the rest of the way up. Exhale, heel and toe, step your feet together. And Vrikshasana, the pose of the month, so let's work with that. Feel free to have a chair nearby or the wall. Fix your gaze, your drishti. So the drishti is both the gaze and the point that you're gazing at. So moving into the limb of one pointed focus. Stepping into the sole of the right foot, lengthening and strengthening the right leg, allowing the left leg to kickstand. And then if tree really is not for you, feel free to take crane. Crane is a beautiful balanced variation that will give you a lot of the same benefits. But if you'd like to come into tree, before you even lift your foot up off the ground, the left foot up off the ground, work on really externally rotating this inner left thigh. I've just worked a lot on that, so it should be ready for this. And engage that left glute. So you'll actually press that left hip a little bit forward, but keep opening and moving the left thigh back. And then find the branches that work for you. Feel free to catch your left foot and move it right up into your right thigh if that's available. Keep letting the shoulder blades relax down. Draw the navel to the spine. Lift your heart. Find the branches that work for you. Your right glute will be working really hard here too. And then left knee forward, left foot down. Release the arms down, palms facing forward. Mountain pose for a moment. And then come up onto your tiptoes, if you can, any amount. And inhale, reach your arms overhead, interlace your fingers, and press your palms to the sky. Tailbone down, heart lifting, core engaged. And then see if you can, with control, exhale, release the arms down. Slowly lower the heels back to the ground. Feel the four corners of your feet or the three corners, depending on what really works best for you in terms of that visualization. But feel the feet planting into the earth. And then shifting into your left foot, left leg, gets long and strong. Right leg relaxes. So if you know you don't want to do tree, feel free to just move into your crane here. Engage the core. Try not to lift the hip, just the knee. But if you want to come into tree, keep the right toes down for a minute as you work on just externally rotating and opening that inner right thigh. Feel that left glute engage, right outer hip engages. Lift the right foot up any amount and plant it. And then find your branches, maintain your drishti and your samavriti. Still waters. You are tree planted by still waters. Open that inner right thigh, but keep the hips even. So it'll be a lot of muscular engagement and energetic alignment here, extending through the crown of the head up into the sky. And then with control, knee comes forward, foot comes down, and back to mountain pose. Okay. And a couple of options here as we move back down to the mat. If you would like to try the tiptoes, feel free, otherwise do it with your feet planted. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky, on tiptoes or not, and exhale, forward fold. Tiptoes or not, lots of calf work here, gastrocnemius, folding in. Maybe still on the tiptoes, lift the belly in and up. You should feel a lot of opening. Hamstrings, strengthen the calves. If you're still on your tiptoes, drop the heels down and breathe. Samavriti, even inhale, even exhale. Inhale, float up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees any amount. Walk the feet back. If you like downward dog, this is a moment for down dog. If you don't, come to your knees. Find your puppy. So you don't have to keep as much of a lift through the belly in your puppy, but do just gently lift the navel to the spine. Make sure the head can rest on something. If you're in down dog, same thing, except the head doesn't have to rest on something, but let it be really relaxed, but keep the core lifting in and up, ribs tucking in. And then everybody find your way to a tabletop position. And from here, come down onto your forearms. And from here, walk your knees back. And then lower your hips down. Just briefly coming into a Sphinx pose. Inner thighs are spinning up to the sky, pinky toes pressing down, heart floating forward, lifting up through the navel, extending back through your toes. Maybe a little smile pose on your face. Good. And then bringing the hands back by the ribs or the armpits. And bring the shoulders out of the ears, lengthen through the back of the neck. And inhale, lift the right leg back behind you. So don't let it be as much about lifting it up. Let it be a lot more about extending through those right toes and engaging the right glute any amount. Maybe the leg lifts up, but keep that right hip moving down. Should feel a lot of action in that inner right thigh. And exhale, release. Inhale, left leg. Reaches back behind you. Reach, reach, reach. Back. Maybe it floats up. but keep that left hip grounded. Exhale down, and then inhale. See if you can lift up the palms from the mat any amount. Maybe they're still on the mat, but they're just not pressing down into the mat. But you're keeping the upper back lifting, chest lifting. Good. And then press into the palms and see if you can lift up any amount more. Find your fullest expression of Bhujangasana, whatever that is for you. Could be up here. Always keep the elbows a little bit bent though. And then see if you can lift both legs up off the mat. And again, let it be more about reaching them back. And exhale, release everything down, forehead to the mat, feet to the mat. And then inhale, bend your knees and press your palms into the mat. Lift your heart up, reach your knees back, pull your heart forward. And exhale, release. So if you're ready for resting, you can say that was my peak pose and I'm all set. But you are prepped if you like. Fold the knees, reach the hands back, hold on to the feet, and come into the full bow pose. Pressing the feet into the hands, lifting the heart, lifting the knees up any amount if you like. You could do another cobra. Keep the glutes engaged, keep the knees moving straight back. You want alignment here between the hips, the knees, and the feet. So not splaying out the knees or the feet. And exhale, release. Inhale, press up through tabletop. Exhale, find your way to your seat. Feel free to sit on a blanket. We'll sit cross-legged. If cross-legged is really uncomfortable for you, even with a blanket and other supports, you can sit in Virasana, hero's pose instead. But if you can, find a way to be content in Swastikasana. Do it. Inhale, lift and spread your chest. Let that lift come from the shoulder blades at the back of the heart. And exhale, draw the navel to the spine. Inhale, let the arms sweep out, reach up. And exhale, turn to your right, let the arms sweep to the right. Left hand will come to the outside of the right thigh. Right fingers will tent back behind you. Feel that you're balancing evenly on both sit bones. Extend through both sideways. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. Inhale, spread your chest. Lift it high. And exhale, stay here. Draw the navel to the spine. Find your even breath. Your still waters. And after your next exhale, inhale, begin to sweep the arms back, up and through center. And exhale, sweep them over to the left. Right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left fingers tenting behind you. And same thing, stay even through the sit bones. Oh, maybe rock back, get that other ankle in front, just to keep things even. On your exhale, draw the navel to the spine. Inhale, lift and spread your chest. Exhale, find those still waters. Maintain your even breath. And exhale, release. Back to center, no arms involved now. Let the arms relax. Find your way onto your back. We'll do that bridge pose that I promised at the beginning. So again, feet parallel or even a little pigeon-toed. Lie down with the knees bent. And this time, on an exhale, you'll lift up. But then on that inhale, draw the shoulders in. Find that back bend in the upper back especially. Keep a long tailbone, engaged glutes, engaged inner thighs in the legs. So even though you're in a back bend, you're still trying to keep some space through the lower back. Press the arms down, lift the belly up. Let the belly expand on the inhalation. And then softly exhale. Keep pressing down through your feet to lift up through your hips. Draw your chest towards your chin. Relax the skin on your face. Release your jaw. Let your tongue be heavy. And then if you like, you can come up onto your tiptoes. Walk your shoulders out. And vertebrae by vertebrae, lower down out of Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. And we'll end in a way, very similar way to the way we began. To the way we began? Yes, I think that's what I said and that's what I meant to say. And allow both knees to drop over to the right. If you like, right foot can come to the outside of left thigh. And when you're ready, release. If your right foot was on the outside of your left thigh, bring it back to the mat. Find your way back to center. Both knees over to the left. So just like before, keep the feet engaged. We're not going to bring the arms into it this time. We're really getting ready for Shavasana. Left foot to the outside of the right thigh if you like. So although we're keeping some slight engagement through the feet here, we're not going to activate the glute. Just getting ready to really rest and let go. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, bring both knees into your chest. Make some circles here in both directions. And then find your way into Shavasana. So if that means you need to sit up, get some props so that you can be completely content in Shavasana, then do that. If you feel completely content just stretching your legs and your arms out, that's fine. Just make sure that you have a V shape for both your arms and your legs. Palms are to the sky and toes are flipping open.